She was the voice that healed millions until someone tried to silence her for good. On the night of her biggest concert, gospel icon Tamela Mann collapsed without warning, now fighting for her life in a hospital bed. The truth behind her sudden collapse is more shocking than anyone imagined. Poison, betrayal, and a secret that could bring down an empire. Her husband is missing. Her nurse is on the run. And the gospel world is holding its breath. Will Tamela wake up and will she live to tell what she knows? Tamela Mann's voice wasn't just heard, it was experienced. A thunderous, soul-deep sound that could shatter grief and rebuild hope in a single note. Her gospel anthems were more than music. They were ministry. Her tours sold out not only because of her talent but because her presence filled rooms with power, reverence, and healing. But just moments before she was set to perform on a sold-out Las Vegas stage, that powerful voice was silenced in the most shocking and devastating way. Backstage, just minutes before call time, Tamela collapsed without warning. One moment she was clutching her mic in prayer. The next, she was on the floor, her body writhing, her breath choking out, and panic erupting around her like wildfire. The backstage crew scrambled. Her manager screamed for medics. Security cleared the area. A hush fell over the crowd inside the venue, unaware that the very soul of the night lay unconscious just feet away. Emergency responders rushed Tamela to a private hospital under high alert. On the way, she flatlined twice. Medical teams performed emergency CPR, injected stabilizers, and pumped oxygen as her vitals continued to spiral. Once she arrived at the hospital, renowned physician and faith leader, Dr. Jackie was called in to oversee the case, a woman who was not only respected in her medical field but deeply rooted in the gospel community. If anyone could save Tamela, it was her. Yet after hours of fighting to stabilize Tamela's failing systems, Dr. Jackie emerged with grim, almost unthinkable news. This wasn't a case of exhaustion. It wasn't natural illness. Tamela Mann had been poisoned. Not accidentally. Not unknowingly. Deliberately. An intentional act of harm that had been slowly building within her body, designed to mimic medical symptoms, delay diagnosis, and ensure maximum destruction before discovery. Chance of survival, a mere 7%. And then came the twist that turned a medical emergency into a national mystery. Hospital security footage, pulled during the initial chaos, revealed something deeply unsettling. Tamela's husband, David Mann, had entered a restricted zone of the hospital ICU just hours before her condition dramatically worsened. He wasn't on any approved visitors list. He had no medical clearance. No nurse recalled seeing him in uniform. But there he was, on tape, moving quietly, looking around, disappearing into her ward, and then leaving minutes later. Stranger still, the nurse who had been assigned to Tamela, the one on rotation during the time of the toxic event, had vanished. No one had her home address. The contact information she'd submitted on hiring was a burner. Her certifications, falsified. The agency that placed her couldn't confirm employment. And the most disturbing link of all, she had been hired at David Mann's personal request, a last-minute referral. A favor, he told hospital staff. But now that nurse was missing, and Tamela's body had been laced with a rare, homemade, neurotoxin not used in any medical practice in the country. Forensic specialists confirmed it was injected directly into her forecatheter during surgical prep, a moment when Tamela was unconscious, vulnerable, and trusting. The toxin had been expertly dosed to mimic natural symptoms: dizziness, muscle spasms, fatigue, nausea, all textbook signs of stress or overwork. But once inside, it attacked her organs one by one, shutting them down slowly but effectively. Dr. Jackie's team worked around the clock administering flushing agents, applying nerve antidotes, deploying cutting-edge techniques to reverse the attack, but the damage was accelerating faster than her body could heal. As the gospel world held its breath and churches across the country called for prayer vigils, the investigation turned criminal. Police launched a formal inquiry, treating the hospital ward as a crime scene, interrogating staff, and issuing subpoenas for all communications between David and the medical team. When media outlets began circling, David Mann issued a short but firm denial through his attorney, claiming zero involvement, insisting he loved his wife deeply, and accusing false narratives of attempting to destroy his family. But science rarely lies, and the forensic trail grew louder by the hour. Traces of the homemade compound were found in her catheter line, but also, shockingly, on a pair of gloves found in the hospital's staff-only disposal chute. gloves that were DNA tested and matched neither Tamela nor any known hospital worker. And while the nurse's identity remained a ghost story, her shift badge was found in the same chute, wiped clean, but not clean enough to escape UV scan tracking. As the investigation expanded, Tamela's close circle began to speak in whispers. There had been signs, strange absences, tension in the marriage. A sudden shift in Tamela's security detail weeks before the collapse. One source close to the couple described a heated argument between Tamela and David during tour rehearsals, followed by an abrupt shift in travel plans and Tamela beginning to sleep with locked doors in hotel suites. Another friend claimed Tamela had started documenting her symptoms in a private journal, believing she might be suffering from a slow-acting illness, or worse, being targeted. That journal, found in her luggage, became key evidence. In it, Tamela described sudden fainting spells, unusual fatigue, and a growing fear that someone in her inner circle was trying to break her. But she never pointed fingers. Not once. That, investigators said, was in line with her nature, forgiving, hopeful, trusting, even when hurt. But now, as Tamela lay motionless in a sterile ICU, her body tethered to machines, her voice gone, silent, the world around her spun into a media frenzy. Fans rallied. Celebrities posted tributes. Church leaders held hands in vigils while news outlets speculated whether gospel's golden couple had become a tragic cautionary tale. David Mann, once seen as Tamela's rock, the man who prayed with her, stood beside her in interviews, and managed her public life, was now the center of one burning question. Did he orchestrate the unthinkable? Was this a betrayal rooted in jealousy, money, control, or something even more sinister? As legal teams circled, a grand jury was quietly formed. Meanwhile, Dr. Jackie issued a statement reminding the public that Tamela was still fighting a fighter in every sense of the word. And while her survival odds were low, miracles weren't just hoped for in the gospel world. They were expected. But even as prayers stormed heaven, one brutal reality lingered on earth. This wasn't just a story of a woman poisoned. It was a story of trust shattered, a sacred voice silenced by betrayal, and a community of millions now questioning how such darkness could have crept so close to the light. Tamela Mann was no longer just fighting for her life. She was now the center of one of the most chilling mysteries gospel music, and perhaps celebrity faith culture, had ever seen. And no matter how it ended, one thing was certain: the truth, once revealed, would shake the industry to its core. At the heart of the unraveling mystery stood David Mann. Dr. Jackie, relentless in her pursuit of truth, ordered a full toxicology workup, and what she found shook her to the core. The toxin in Tamela's system was a modified form of tetrodotoxin, a rare, lethal compound typically found in pufferfish and seldom seen outside black market circles. This wasn't just poisonous, it was sophisticated, engineered to degrade quickly and mimic a natural collapse. If Dr. Jackie hadn't intervened in time, Tamela's death might have passed as a tragic accident, erasing all signs of foul play. But this wasn't a random act. It was a meticulously planned assassination attempt. All trails led back to David. In the days before her collapse, he'd grown strangely controlling questioning medication, managing access, even personally selecting a nurse named Renee. That nurse has since vanished. Investigators uncovered her real identity: Veronica Lane, a former nurse stripped of her license in Georgia for prescription fraud. She and David had worked together in 2019, and he'd vouched for her return. But was it redemption, or a calculated alliance? Further digging revealed a recent wire transfer from David to a hidden Nevada account connected to Renee's burner phone. Meanwhile, Tamela's body continued to fail, her organs shutting down one by one. In a somber press briefing, Dr. Jackie confirmed what the world feared: Tamela Mann had been poisoned, deliberately. This wasn't just a medical emergency, it was an attempted murder. As cameras flashed and the media frenzy erupted, one truth was undeniable: someone had tried to silence the voice that once moved millions, and now the hunt for justice had begun. A warrant was issued for David Mann's arrest in connection with the attempted poisoning of gospel icon Tamela Mann, and by the time authorities reached the gated estate the couple once shared, he was gone. No staff, no calls, no digital pings. David had vanished like smoke in the wind. His luxury SUV was discovered hours later, eerily abandoned near the cliffs surrounding Lake Mead. The doors were unlocked, the engine cold. His phone lay on the driver's seat, screen still lit, its call log erased except for one final unsent message to Tamela. Next to it, a torn and weather-stained letter, handwritten in hurried script, and addressed simply, T. It read, "I never meant to hurt you. I only wanted to protect you." Some secrets had to stay buried. There was no signature, no clarity, just silence. Was it a confession, a farewell, or a deliberate diversion to stall law enforcement and stir the public into deeper confusion? David Mann, once Tamela's protector, manager, husband, and partner, in faith was now a fugitive, his carefully curated public image unraveling by the hour. The gospel world, once unified in prayer for Tamela's recovery, now found itself in stunned division. Some close friends and colleagues leaped to David's defense, calling the accusations unthinkable and media-fueled hysteria, citing his years of spiritual leadership and unwavering presence by Tamela's side. But others, former choir members, background singers, even family friends, began surfacing with long-ignored stories. Whispers of David's need for control, of him managing every detail of Tamela's life, down to her wardrobe, her passwords, even the temperature she kept in dressing rooms. Many admitted they'd once seen it as care. In hindsight, it looked like control. As social media erupted under the trending hashtag Justice for Tamela, thousands of fans organized candlelight vigils outside hospitals, churches, and concert halls she once headlined. But inside the hospital walls, the mood was more dire than hopeful. Dr. Jackie, revered both as a physician and a woman of deep spiritual integrity, addressed the press late that evening. Her voice was calm but raw. "Tamela is stable but unconscious. Her brain activity has declined significantly. At this stage, her survival rests on divine intervention." The gospel world wept, but then, at 3:37 a.m., something unexplainable happened. A flicker on the monitors. A sudden, sharp spike in neural activity, the first in over 72 hours. Nurses and specialists rushed to recalibrate the data. Moments earlier, Tamela's daughter, 14-year-old Tia, had been sitting by her bedside. She held her mother's hand, tears streaming, whispering something no child should have to say. "If you're tired, it's okay to let go. We love you, Mama. You don't have to keep fighting." Something in those words sparked a ripple, a reaction that no science could yet explain. Encouraged by the anomaly, Dr. Jackie revisited Tamela's blood work and ran a deeper, specialized analysis. What she found stunned even the most seasoned toxicologists. The poison used in Tamela's attack wasn't just some amateur compound, it was a military-grade neurotoxin, synthesized with a rare stabilizing agent only produced by one classified manufacturer in the US. The batch contained markers traceable to a government-contracted research lab used in military biochemical testing. But how had it ended up in Tamela's bloodstream? That's when investigators uncovered a chilling connection. Weeks before Tamela collapsed, David Mann had traveled to the very city where the lab was based under the guise of a private gospel performance for military chaplains. While there, he'd disappeared from the event for nearly 6 hours. He signed no autographs, wasn't seen backstage. No photos, no explanations. It was now clear. David hadn't just gone rogue, he had gone strategic. The case intensified. The nurse at the heart of the mystery, Renee Porter, the woman hired personally by David and who vanished without a trace, was spotted in Nevada on gas station surveillance. She looked disheveled, panicked, clutching a duffel bag and paying in cash. 2 hours later, she was taken into custody at a motel outside Henderson. Under arrest, she was silent at first, cold, calculated, but when she was shown a live feed of Tamela's hospital monitors, proof that the woman she helped poison was still alive, she cracked, her voice trembling. She muttered the line that sent shivers through the room. "He said she wasn't supposed to die. Just be silenced." Renee spilled everything. According to her confession, David had orchestrated the entire plan, not out of jealousy or spite, but fear. Tamela had been preparing to go public with explosive evidence tied to a multi-million-dollar religious corporation, one deeply embedded in the gospel entertainment industry. She had emails, recordings, signed statements, names of powerful men, pastors, producers, executives, all engaged in financial corruption, abuse, cover-ups, and intimidation tactics. And she had planned to testify before a private ethics board convened by several national ministries. If she spoke, not only would the corporation implode, but David, who had business entanglements and silent partnerships with several implicated figures, would be ruined. So the plan wasn't to kill her, it was to discredit her. The toxin had been tailored to cloud memory, trigger erratic behavior, and make her appear unstable, someone whose testimony couldn't be trusted. Renee had been coached to administer microdoses during Tamela's hospital stay, masking them as pain medication, but the dosage went wrong. Her hand slipped. Tamela's body, already weakened by tour stress, spiraled into critical condition, and once it made national news, there was no turning back. Authorities immediately issued a federal fugitive alert for David Mann. His face splashed across news broadcasts and the FBI's most wanted bulletins. His bank accounts were frozen. His travel flagged. The man once seen as Gospel's first husband had now become its most wanted. And yet, the most powerful twist was still to come. As dawn broke across the city, nurses entered Tamela's room and noticed a tremble, a twitch, a flutter of her fingers against the blanket. Her eyelids fluttered. And then, a shallow inhale. Dr. Jackie was summoned instantly. Scans confirmed it. Tamela was responding. Not out of danger. Not recovered, but waking up. Slowly, painfully, miraculously. Across the globe, the news spread like holy fire. Churches erupted in praise. Gospel choirs organized virtual vigils. Fans from Kenya to Kentucky flooded timelines with a new mantra: Tamela is fighting. Her voice may have been silenced, but her truth, the one so many had tried to bury, was roaring back to life. A single tear traced Tamela's cheek as the weight of truth approached. The question loomed: should she be told the man in her wedding photos, the one who once held her hand in prayer, had tried to end her life? Dr. Jackie decided she had the right to know. Sitting beside her, she gently took Tamela's hand and whispered, "Sweetheart, I have to tell you something hard, but it's coming from love." Tamela didn't speak, but as soon as Jackie mentioned David's name, her heart monitor spiked. She knew. And though her body was weak, something inside her stirred, quiet but fierce. The woman who had lifted others with her voice was beginning to rise for herself. That same night, at 10:43 p.m., a hiker spotted a ragged figure, limping, near Lake Mead's edge. It was David Manchulis, dehydrated, hiding in a deserted ranger station. He didn't resist when federal agents cuffed him. He said nothing. The man once revered in churches was now booked for attempted murder, obstruction of justice, and medical tampering. Bail denied. Ministry collapsed. But Tamela, though fragile, was reclaiming her voice. Her family vowed to carry forward the lawsuit she nearly died to bring to light. Her evidence, emails, recordings, names would be released. And when she finally spoke, just above a whisper, the room stood still. "Tell the truth," she said, "even if it costs you everything."